Hey, it's almost time to watch this training. But darn it, what is that I hear? Oh my gosh, are those kids calling me again? And oh man, now I'm late for another work meeting on Zoom. And my daughter is not completing her distance learning assignments. And so now the principal wants to have a chat with me. Oh my goodness. And guess what? The dog needs to be let out again. And in all of this craziness, the laundry still hasn't done itself. Man, is this your life? Well, I get it. You know what? We're all there right now. We are all trying to balance life and work and distance learning and our passion to share Norwex with others. And you know, the formal definition of the word balance is a condition in which different elements are equal or in correct proportions. And that to me sounds a little like fantasy because maybe I resonate a little bit better with this next definition. Some days you eat salads and you go to the gym. And some days you eat cupcakes and you refuse to put pants on. That, my friends, is what I call balance. So how do we fit Norwex into our crazy, busy lives? By doing a very focused little bit at a time to fit it into the nooks and crannies of our lives. You can do it alongside all those other important things in your life. So to give you some direction, let's think about breaking your Norwex business down into 3 buckets. The first bucket is parties. The second is customer care and follow-up. And the third is business learning. So let's do a little bit deeper dive into what do I mean within those buckets. So under parties, that would include things like booking parties, host coaching, posting and preparing for parties, and sharing the business and closing the party. For the customer care and follow-up bucket, that would include 222 follow-up that you heard about earlier, VIP group. So that would be your posts, your challenges, education, things like that. And then if you choose to do a rewards club in your VIP group, that's another thing that would be in that category. If you're not familiar with the idea of a rewards club, be sure to talk with your leader to get more information because it's an amazing addition to your business. And then finally, our third bucket is business learning. So it's really building your knowledge by studying and reviewing a snippet of training each and every day. And those things can come from the resource.norwex.com. They can come from Norwex podcasts. You can find that information on your team Facebook page or the Consultant Connection or the Revamp Multi-Host Group or one of the many other amazing Facebook groups. You can also visit the training on Tuesdays at 2:00 that the training team does every week to learn some great ideas. And don't forget about books and YouTube videos and even TED Talks. Now for leaders, I would recommend that you add a 4th bucket, which would of course be team support. We're just going to talk about those first 3 for the purposes of our discussion today. But as a consultant, you could spend about 15 minutes total, 5 to 10 minutes on each of those buckets in a day, and you could work it around most other things that you're doing. So we're going to start with just 15 minutes a day, for example. But as you build your business, you might add some more activities. You might add a little bit more time, depending on your schedule or your other business priorities. Now let's take one activity from each bucket. So let's take one activity out of the party bucket, one out of the follow-up bucket, and one out of the business learning bucket. And let's focus on those and plug them into one day. Now, you can either do all 3 of those activities in a designated 15-minute chunk of time in your day, or you can break it up and do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and 5 minutes later. But I would recommend whichever way you go, you schedule it into your calendar because if you just try to slip it in when you have time, you're likely going to run out of time and you're going to end up with your day finished and you haven't gotten to your activities. So schedule it in whichever way you want to go. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of an example. So let's say on Monday, you are going to then pick, remember, one thing from the party bucket, one thing from the follow-up bucket, and one thing from the business learning bucket. So 5 minutes on Monday, let's say you're going to spend on booking parties. And just think about that. If you have your Frankie list ready and your script ready, how many people could you text a message and an invite to host a party with in 5 minutes? Quite a few, right? So that would go well. Then you want to also maybe decide to spend some time inviting people, customers into your VIP group. That's part of your follow-up bucket, right? And then you might want to also spend 5 minutes on listening to maybe half of a TED Talk, because I think they're just 10 minutes long, right? So you could spend 5 minutes, listen to half of one, or if you're feeling racy, listen to the whole thing. Now on Tuesday, we're going to pick some other activities out of each of the 3 buckets. So we might do host coaching and make those contacts and connections for our first 5 minutes under the party bucket. Then we might decide to post something in our VIP group and comment and so forth for 5 minutes on in our follow-up bucket. And then for our last bucket for the learning, we might listen to the other half of that TED Talk, or maybe we're going to go review some training that's on our team Facebook page. Now on Wednesday, you're going to pick some other activities, right? You still stay 1 in each bucket, but those activities could rotate and change. That's the way you're covering so many things. So 5 minutes on Wednesday, you might either create a couple of posts, or you might actually post for a party, or you might respond to some posts or comments from a party. Then you could spend 5 minutes doing some follow-up thank you texts to some people who purchased. And you could spend 5 minutes reviewing maybe, for example, the product information sheets on the new products for March. Just so you can get all the details down and get a little bit more familiar with them. So you kind of get the idea. 5 minutes in the party category, 5 minutes in the follow-up, and 5 minutes in the business learning. And then you pick the items within each bucket, but each day you're dedicating that 15 minutes of time to all 3 areas of your business. So as you can see, by the time that you've done that for 5 days in a row, you've dedicated 1 hour and 15 minutes of focused, uninterrupted business activity time to move your business forward. Now, obviously, this is outside of your scheduled party time, because I know most of you do parties in the evening and so on. However, I bet you're already quite a master of scheduling posts ahead, like with a third-party app. Or maybe you're doing cutting and pasting and posting some of those things automatically. And you're probably actually getting really good at responding to customers and comments in between getting the kids down for bed and maybe even throwing in that load of laundry. So that's the beautiful thing. The business fits into the nooks and crannies of our lives, right? And that is amazing. But beware, this business is flexible, but it's not optional, which means that you still need to do the work. You need to put in that time in all the areas to get the very best results. But start from where you are, get that first 15 minutes in. Maybe you want to do that today. Maybe you want to try it tomorrow, or maybe you want to give yourself a little time and start on Monday. But either way, you are going to feel so good about getting that done that very first time, and it's going to put you on a roll. And remember, it can be 1 15-minute block of time, or you can spread each of those 5 minutes out throughout the day. So, and the best part, and I know you're going to love this, is that you can do all of this while you eat cupcakes and refusing to put your pants on. Man, that's priceless, and I know you can do it.